What difference does it make if we can prove that God exists or not?
It matters to know whether God exists or not, simply because it matters whether in fact God exists or not. The existence of God has a bearing on the meaning of life, the purpose of human existence, the basis for morality, and the prospects of eternal life.
God is still relevant because he never changes. It's we who should be concerned about whether we're relevant to him.
When you look at an oil painting, especially if it's a portrait, you could tell if it is by Rembrandt. The image seems to pop out of the dark. It seems the guy loves to work in a dark place all the time. It seems like all he's ever able to get his hands on are tubes of black or brown, a few tubes of white maybe, a little bit of yellow, a little bit of red, and that's it basically. You're not going to see bright pink or fluorescent green in a Rembrandt, but you might in a Van Gogh or a Pablo Picasso. These two guys get totally crazy with colors and attack the canvas with gobs of rainbow colors like there's no tomorrow. There's something to be said about recognizing the creator when you're looking at his creation. The more you know things about the painter, the quicker you can recognize his work even from a distance. I am tempted to say it's the same story with God. A lot of people look at nature and the heavens and wildlife and so on. They claim that they can quickly recognize the fingers of God. There's a lot of people who will say they know God because they recognize him by his works. They honor God and declare his glory and everything by saying that one look at the majesty of the created nature and of the universe, and you'll know right away that nobody could be that creative, that powerful, that majestic. That is, nobody except God. That's the giveaway right there. It's like people are answering a multiple choice type of question where the question is, who created all of this majesty and beauty? And the choices of answers are A. God, B. God, C. any of the above, and D. all of the above. How smart do you really have to be to get that one right? Many of the people who concede that God is the creator do so out of inescapable assumption. It's easy to say that this painting is by Leonardo da Vinci, and that one is by Leonardo da Vinci, and even this other one is by Leonardo da Vinci. If you are inside the Leonardo da Vinci Museum, even if all you did was take a wild guess, you can't go wrong. It's the same situation with God. The whole universe was created by him, so it's difficult not to get it right. The only way to deny that really is to just refuse to believe it for no reason in particular, which is what an atheist does.
I don't believe creation from any perspective.
But do non-atheists do any better? If I, for instance, were to admit that God is the creator of the universe, that's really not an intellectual discovery on my part. Giving God credit that really belongs to him in the first place doesn't count. Just like my good opinion of the works of an artist is not necessary to validate the beauty of his art. People recognize the artist behind the painting because they know something about his life or they have seen his other works before. Vincent van Gogh cut off his ear to win the attention of a woman who ignores him. You could sense that desperation and pain of this tragedy in his life in the trembling brush strokes that characterize his painting style. The point is, you can only recognize the works of a familiar artist if you have some prior knowledge about his character.
Now, I don't think the universe was created. I don't believe in creation because that word implies a creator and a mind.
This is the dilemma of an atheist, a person who denies the existence of God. An atheist is not somebody who doesn't believe in God. Rather, by denying the existence of God, he is able to escape the decision of whether to believe in God or not. The dilemma of the atheist is that while it may be easy to deny what we cannot see, and we cannot see God, it's impossible to deny the reality of the created universe. You can try. You go, God did not create the universe because there are no indications whatsoever that he did. What indications are you looking for?
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
And how can you tell if those indications are absent? You can disown a painting by saying it's a fake. Michelangelo doesn't paint that way. I know. In the same way, you can only deny that God exists and did not create the universe by invoking some prior understanding of the character and qualifications of the very God whose existence you deny. How do you do that? So, as difficult as it may sound to prove that God exists, it's actually even more difficult to prove that He doesn't. If we are to prove that God doesn't exist, all we have to do is find one thing that He didn't create. You see, we established that God, if He were to exist, is omnipotent. He has total, absolute, and infinite power. There is not one thing He cannot do. This means if we can find one thing He did not create, that's one thing He was not able to do, and that would prove that He is not God. This is really going to be a mental exercise for the most part because we cannot go around the entire universe doing a cosmic inventory. We are working with a limited budget here. But even by mental exercise, we are able to nail down another attribute of God. That attribute is the power to be present everywhere. You can't create anything anywhere without being there, and we can see that the physical universe is everywhere. That's it for now. If you like this video, please give me a big thumbs up and subscribe below, and I'll see you in the next video.